know that I was in Denver at the Democratic National Convention last week. My name is Fiorina. I am the Victory 08 chairwoman. And my purpose in being in Denver last week was to talk with many Democrats about supporting John McCain. Last week, we held a similar conference to the one we are doing today to introduce to you and to the American people a number of Democrats who were stepping forward to support John McCain. And we're delighted to add to that group today. As I mentioned last week, Citizens for McCain is a grassroots effort reaching out to both Democrats and independents across the country and mobilizing support for John McCain. And when I introduced folks in Denver, I said that they represented many millions more. And I will be introducing you today to some additional members of Citizens for McCain and allow each of them to talk a little bit with you about why they have chosen to support John McCain. In many cases, these are people who are voting for a Republican for the very first time. So if I may, let me introduce each of them and then ask several of them to make some remarks, and then we'll take your questions. First, I'd like to introduce Ambassador Mark Irwin. Ambassador Irwin was appointed ambassador to OPIC by Bill Clinton. All right, there you are. Next to him, we have Jennifer Lee. She was a member of Senator Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign from California. Welcome, Jennifer. We have next to her John Cole, a former fundraiser for both President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton from Washington, D.C. We have as well, next to John, Brian Golden, a former state representative from Boston and as well a lifelong Democrat. Next to Brian, we have someone that some of you may have met in Denver last week, Cynthia Ruscia, who is a former congressional candidate from Ohio and an activist for women's rights. And she stepped forward in Denver. And next to her, Silver Salazar, also someone who stepped forward in Denver. He is a Hispanic community activist and a supporter for Hillary Clinton. So what I'd like to do is ask Ambassador Irwin, John Cole, Jennifer Lee, as well as Brian Golden to make some brief remarks about their decision, and then we'll take whatever questions you have. So with no further ado, Ambassador.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much. My name is Mark Irwin, and I was appointed by Bill Clinton first to the board of OPIC, and then later I was appointed ambassador to 3 African countries, and have been a longtime friend of Bill and Hillary Clinton, a strong supporter of Hillary Clinton. And once the primaries were decided, I did my own research to try to decide what I thought was best for our country, and I came to the conclusion that John McCain is the man that we need to lead this country. Somebody asked me what I was doing lately, and I said, well, I think I've been losing some old friends and making some new friends. But the fact of the matter is a number of my Democrat friends agree with my position. And the reason I came to the conclusion that I have come to is we need a leader, a proven leader, especially in these difficult times where we have so many issues facing our nation around the world. We need somebody who has been there and done that. And in the case of John McCain, we know of his career in the military, we know of the sacrifices he made, we know of his career in the Congress. And this is a man who has been willing to work across the aisle and been willing to stand up to his own party when he's needed to fight the important battles for our nation. On the other hand, his opponent has never held a leadership position that I could find in his life. And I don't think that the first leadership position that you hold should be President of the United States of America. So I want a proven leader. I want somebody that I can count on, somebody that we know the measure of. And so that's my reason for supporting John McCain. Thank you.
Thanks, Ambassador. John, would you like to make a few comments?
I'm John Cole from Washington, D.C. I worked with John Kerry, and I'm a longtime friend of Clinton family. This is not easy. I decided to go with John McCain after I worked pretty extensively in the Hillary Clinton campaign. My job there was to travel with her brothers, her mother, and the two of them. And it comes down to one thing only in this election: it's integrity. I don't even believe it's issues anymore. We need someone in the White House who has integrity. John McCain is everything that Barack Obama tells us he is, and Barack is not. John McCain has a history of working together in the Senate, putting things together. He has a history of standing up for what is right. His campaign is above the board, not below the board. And I think that his stand on things like immigration, his stand on global warming, his stand, how he took the heat, that's what impressed me the most, the heat this man took during the campaign. Let's just look at the immigration factor. He was out. He was probably carrying his own suitcase after the immigration battle, but he stuck to his ideals, and now he's the nominee of this party. There's one thing that switched me to John McCain that I remembered after Hillary, and that was the Republican debate. I think I won when it was maybe November. And everybody was talking about torture. And the other candidates, probably 7 or 8 of them on the stage, oh yes, there's certain circumstances I'm in torture, and yes, we have to change these things. They got to McCain. McCain says, no, I wouldn't torture. And he was asked why, and he said, because when I was over there for 5 years being tortured every day, there was something that kept my buddies and me going, and that was, we knew that our country would never do such a thing. That's why I'm for John McCain.
Thank you, Carly. It's a pleasure to be here today. My name is Brian Golden. I was a 4-term Democratic legislator in Boston. I resigned my seat in my 4th term when I was deployed to Baghdad, Iraq, as a officer in the Judge Advocate General's Corps. And when I came home, it was time for me to start thinking about the presidential race. And I thought very clearly early on that John McCain was absolutely necessary for the future of the nation for both of those experiences, because of my time working in a bipartisan fashion in the Massachusetts legislature, as well as my time overseas. And I kept thinking it's pretty powerful stuff when an individual demonstrates his willingness to lay down his life, to suffer for the rest of us. And that's not just an interesting story about heroism. It certainly is an impressive story of heroism, but it told us so much more about what John McCain was going to be like when he entered public life, and it tells us a lot about how he'll be as president, always putting the country first, always putting the country before any partisan interest at all. And it's really more than just bipartisan, it's very often nonpartisan. What's good for the country? And I go down the litany of issues that, again, are bipartisan or nonpartisan. It's the prohibition on torture, as John just mentioned, his attitude toward the prison camp at Guantanamo Bay, his interest in equitable tax policy that benefits working families like those I served in an overwhelming district in inner city Boston, immigration, drilling, new reserves of oil to help this economy and help working families, corruption and ethics. In DC, he's been a stalwart. He's always been a strong voice on that. Climate change, again, breaking party ranks. I must admit, I had an excellent green record when I was in the legislature. That's impressed me. And recently I was talking to a group about Cape Wind. Cape Wind is the most forward-thinking wind project on the east coast of the United States. It'll be an important precedent for our future with regard to alternatives and renewables, John McCain